Welcome back to the Healthy Business Podcast. I'm Ty King, and with me as always,
Jessica Tolliver with Cam Collaborative. Are you no longer American Business Engine?
I am. Why?
You didn't say it. You just said I'm Ty King.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to get through it, and I realized I was looking at the camera, and then I realized I had my glasses on my shirt.
And they were glaring.
Yeah. So if they reflected the green screen, then you were going to see right through me. It was going to have a hole right through the Capitol, right through me.
Remember that movie,
Threw me off.
Dead Like Her, or Dead Like Me, or She's Dead, or something?
Death Becomes Her.
Yes, where there was a hole in her. Yeah, okay.
That movie freaked me out and traumatized me as a kid. And I bring it up. It's funny you bring it up because I bring it up to people and they're like, "What's that? I've never seen it before." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, man,
I'm old."
And she falls down the stairs too. Oh,
I loved it. Yeah.
Very strange. Anyways, so how are you? Good.
I'm good. Yeah. I'm good. I put on makeup today. Not that anybody can notice because when I put on makeup, it looks just like me without makeup. Only I'm.
Yeah, but at least I can see you
less
this time
shiny.
because I remembered to bring the camera. The camera's back here.
Did you remember, or did I remind you in time?
I was already out there in the.
Oh, look
street.
at you!
Yeah,
look at you.
There's no way I could make it from Conway to here in that time. Yeah, so.
I have no idea. I have no concept
I put
of
all
time.
the stuff together last night because I was like, "Oh no, I'm not going to remember in the morning." So I put it right there by the door so I could pick it up and just take
Excellent.
it with me. Yep.
Go you.
Forgot some other stuff, but yeah, I remember that. So.
Celebrate the wins.
Yeah.
Acknowledge the losses.
Hey, that's
celebrate
part of
the
the
wins.
thing. Yay. Yeah. Oh wow.
Oh yeah, we're definitely sticking with these cups until we get better cups because these are the most awesome cups.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it'll be Halloween forever.
Hey, I'm perfectly okay with celebrating Halloween year round. So.
Ditto.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Anything on your mind that you want to talk about on the podcast? Sometimes we have subjects. Sometimes we just get on here and just wing it. You know what I mean? It's part of it.
Yeah.
It's part of the process.
I cannot think of anything podcast specific in the moment.
Okay. No podcast specific in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
We are planning to have, well, I guess it started off as a customer appreciation type of.
Our NBA, our Neighborhood Business Appreciation. I renamed it.
Is it what's it called?
I thought that was cool.
Neighborhood Business Appreciation Event.
Yes.
Okay.
I have already, the landing page is all done. I just have to finish the link to the ticket purchasing button, and then it's already launched, but it'll be ready to actually work. But the vendor page, landing page, or sign-up page is done.
Okay.
I've completed the map of the vendor tables. I've completed the definitions of all the different ideas. I've started the checklist, and I did one other thing I can't remember. But anyways, those will go out to you guys today.
Awesome. Okay, good deal. Where do you find the time to do these things? Because I know you've got
a million things going on.
A million things like I've got going on, and I'm like, it's been on my mind, like, okay, I gotta get that done. But then something else always pops up, and I'm like, okay, well, I have to serve these clients because that's where I make money from.
Right. No, I understand.
No money, no food, no house.
So I got up really early the day and just came in and just knocked it out, and the darn clients came in. I had to stop, so I lost my momentum. But I'm pretty much almost completely done with all of that part of it.
Okay.
And we'll be ready to. I've already done the flyer. Did you see that? All right. So Brittany did a flyer.
Yeah.
A mini flyer, and then I did an updated flyer, and then I just have to change your copy on American Business Engine in one little spot, and that'll be ready for distribution. And so I got that done. So I just was able to use that as my template for the landing page.
Got you. Okay. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So we still have some radio airtime with NPR, too, for the end of the year. We got this, the package where you can advertise throughout the. We still have some left over in the budget.
Cool.
And they contacted me we probably need to clear that before the end of the year. So this is a good thing that we could just advertise for. So, yeah.
Yes. So I went down into the measurements of the space. So we are able to host a lot more vendor tables than we initially thought.
Yeah.
And I think Brittany's already confirmed 10. And then we'll consist of probably about 5, probably with Twist and Abe and Cam and ACV is going to do the registration table, and then just a couple other things I'm blocking off. But we'll have plenty of other tables for people to come in, and the building's really excited about that. So they're excited to get some of the people from in the building to participate. And then once I finish the flyer today with the QR codes for registration and tickets, I'll be able to push out to my people.
Nice. So you're implementing all the things we've talked about before.
Well,
about event planning and all that other stuff that we've addressed before.
you guys didn't do it, so I had to get it. It needs to get done.
Well, yeah, I know that. Yeah, sure.
And that's what I do. You
Listen,
guys are busy.
I don't need somebody else giving me more more work for no pay.
I
You know what
just
I mean?
said-
I have to.
I'm not getting on you. I am
Give
just
it my
simply
time.
saying I know
Yeah.
that it was not done, so I just stepped in and did it. I
Yeah.
had a minute, so I did it.
I get it.
That's why you collaborate with people. That's a good business thing. The topic is collaboration. And sometimes you have to let other people help you. And hope that their talents are where you want them.
Sure.
But you said, like you said, you got to pay the bills. At the end of the
Yes.
day, I was listening
get
to
help.
I was listening to a podcast recently, and it was a gentleman who has achieved success, but he talked about his path towards success, and he has a nonprofit, and there's things that are really big to his heart, and he's pushing a new book, which I bought because it really sounds interesting, not important, but he was talking about how you have these charitable things that you're doing, and that's great and fine, but you have to find the balance between that and also paying the bills. So
Yeah.
it's not always easy
No.
having to choose. It's
very
like,
rarely
it's
easy.
like picking your favorite kid sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, little Billy, you don't get food today.
Yeah, it's only easy when like you've made enough to where you're set back. Like, oh, okay, I can float around for a while. You know, what I mean, that's the only time it's easy. Other than that, nope.
No, well then that's the goal though. I mean, at least you can look at people and say that is an achievable goal.
Yeah.
Might take me 20 years, but it's an achievable goal.
Yep, for sure.
You seem a little.
I'm having an off week. You know what I mean?
It's coming. The vibe, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Like, anything you want to share with our friends?
I'm kind of irritated with a lot of things, and it's just I don't know.
That's a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you're gonna have an off week. So we've got we had a eclipse. We've got a full moon coming. We've got a huge shift in a lot of atmospheric changes in. I mean, practically global. There's some
Yeah.
hurricanes, all kinds of stuff going on. So energy-wise, with the planet is not great. So a lot of people are feeling that.
Yeah.
What kind of things can you share that are irritating you?
I guess the lack of I don't know. It just feels like a lack of appreciation. I guess is what it boils down to.
Okay.
We,
You should come to our neighborhood business appreciation
Oh,
event.
I should. Yes. Yeah. Where I'll also be working.
So appreciation, how do you process? Or not process. What? Like, give it a
I
small
don't know.
example.
Just extend the same courtesy back to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even if it's just, hey, how are you? Okay, cool. And then like actually listen. Instead of just looking at me and walking by, and it's like, what? Where'd that come from? I don't understand what's going on here.
Sounds to me like you're not getting your cup filled in more in the areas than just, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah. There's a lot of that. So it's many like hours of volunteerism and everything I put into these things, and like I invest in other people, and then not receiving that return back from them, the reciprocation.
Yep.
And then you're just like, wow, okay, you really didn't care this whole time. What have I been doing? If I'm
Right.
wasting my time being nice to you, it feels like it.
You might need to read this new book I just bought.
Uh,
So the podcast was really great, and I'll send you a link to the podcast because it's obviously much shorter than the book. And if you like it, you can then move forward with it. But it's a really great podcast. The book is about how to identify, as a giver, which you are, I am also, how to identify takers and not invite them into your circle. So as givers, we're out there, we're giving. We're constantly doing charitable work. We're constantly doing nice things for other people. We're making connections. We're doing all this stuff to help other people.
Yeah.
And we tend to attract, narcissists that want to take advantage of that.
yeah.
And there are some key metrics, apparently, that you can look for that will help you identify some red flags.
Mm-hmm.
And I am excited to see some of these red flags because I tell you, if there is a narcissist magnet in the planet, I am it.
Okay.
I will attract every person who needs something from me and has
Yeah.
nothing to give. 100%. I'm good at that. You need
So
someone.
what is it? What's attracting them?
I haven't read it yet. I just bought it.
Oh, okay.
2 days ago. I'm like,
Yeah,
very
okay.
excited.
You read the synopsis. Okay.
Yeah. Well, no, I listened to the guy.
Okay.
It was like I said, there was the podcast.
Yeah.
And I listened to the guy, and like halfway, so the podcast is about 40 minutes. About 20 minutes in, I'm like paused, and I went and got an Audible and bought the
Okay.
book,
Yeah.
and then went back and listened to the rest of the podcast. I'm excited to start the book. I'm right about an hour left of the one I'm working
Yeah.
on, and I'll get onto that one. But I like the idea. The guy who wrote it is actually a marketer, so I love that he's not a guru or coming from that hooky dooky it.
Hooky dooky. I like it.
Ask the universe for it, and you shall have all you've ever desired.
Yes.
And not that there's nothing wrong with being grateful and gratitude and all the things. But
Sure.
that being said, you also in relationships you also have to be academic about it, and you have to pay attention, and you have to try, and sometimes you have to fail, and then you still have to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and keep on going. And I really enjoyed his perspective because it came across like a marketer. Here's some things, and this is what you look for, and there's some bullet points, and I just really enjoyed that. So I think you'll like it too.
Very cool.
I don't know if I like it, but I think you will.
I'll
I think I will.
We'll talk afterwards, and I'll write it down.
I'll send you a link.
Okay, that'll work. Yeah, so I guess this is a good thing to talk about. Is just like frustrations, as it's different when you work for someone else and when you own your own business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two completely different things. Please don't say that it's the same level, the same thing. It is not.
Mm-mm.
It is not the same thing. These are two completely different things. So as an entrepreneur, as somebody that owns my own business, I am solely responsible for the income of this company so that we can keep operating in this company and growing the company, making jobs for future employees, making sure my business partners are making what they should be earning,
Right.
and starting the internship program, all this stuff. So like
I want to talk about that too, but
it's
after.
all on my shoulders, right?
Yep.
So I started this thing, still running this thing, and like sometimes it feels, even 4 years in, it feels like it's still day one, because I hit my head up against the wall because something has just come up, and it feels like all the efforts and stuff I've put into I don't know, the boards and stuff I'm part of, and where I spend my time. So time management's been huge. That's been heavily on my mind. A few weeks ago I took a mental health break just to, I was going to too many events, calming down, all that stuff. Now I'm in the process of looking at, okay, what are all the things that I'm volunteering for or serving on a board for or going to events for, and I'm cutting out the ones where I don't get any value from. So one of them is the North Little Rock Young Professionals. I'm going to cut that board out because I'm not getting any kind of, I don't know, any kind of value in return.
Well, I mean, and it probably served you when you started. But people change. Situations change.
It's a nice little thing to add to your resume. But I think it's also only, at first I was like, okay, this is great. This is my wheelhouse. This is networking. It's about bringing younger people in and introducing them into the the business world and showing, hey, it's not as scary and it's not like it is on TV. You can actually be relaxed, be yourself, be an individual, and still kill it out here, and bring some of that innovation in, trying to encourage some of that. But every meeting has just been something that could have been an email. There's no asking for any input from any board members. It's just, well, the last event we had was pretty good. Oh, also they have happy hours in between the hours of 4 and 7 on Thursdays, and I like to drink it. And it's like, okay, and then it's like hey, we never even introduce ourselves. Even though we know each other, it's good practice, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Usually, introduce yourself, say who you are, what you do. And I don't know, I noticed, I was looking around the room, and I was like, okay, everybody else here works for somebody else. I'm the only one that has my own business and is working for myself. I'm the only entrepreneur here. Some of these guys are my age, which is 30. I'm 36, right? So they're in their 30s, but they're still working for somebody else. And I was like, okay, so it's not the age thing. It's just that they are comfortable in that sales position or whatever it is that they have, that they're working for somebody else. They're secure in that. This is a break from them, from their normal day. This is just being able to go out, have lunch, sit at this meeting that's dull and boring.
Probably get paid while they're there.
Dull and boring, but they're getting paid for it. Yeah, exactly. They're like, hey, I'm getting paid to be here doing this. I'm not.
No, if I'm not hustling, I'm not
I took
making
my
money.
time. Yeah, exactly. I took my time to be there and try to add some kind of value there. But if you're not even asking for any kind of input whatsoever, then I can't even do that. And so basically, I'm paying to be there.
I'm not getting any value out of it.
And not getting any value out of
But
it.
that's a good learning opportunity for you, because because when you first started, you thought it was a good idea, and if you don't experience that, sometimes you just can't take someone else's word for it, because everyone in there probably said, yeah, it's a great thing to do. You should get involved in it. And if you didn't, there would be somewhat a little regret.
Yeah.
So you did it. Now you know, and you can you cut that tie and move on. That's excellent. That's a win, actually. It's a win to make that decision.
Yeah.
Another one of those wins.
One of the wins. And so there's some things that have been bringing me, they've brought me a lot of different forms of value. Like a Vanguard.
Sure.
So that's the big one, you know what I mean? So that's great. I don't know. I'm frustrated this week. It's an off week. And I showed another thing. Sorry. This is just to get it off my chest, right? We're just throwing things out here.
Gotcha.
Okay.
No problem. I'm gonna drink my
Yes.
Drink my coffee. It's all good.
Every year, your local Chamber of Commerce puts out a directory, right, of members. And so it's a book that's printed that has a list of all the members all the way through.
It's all pretty and shiny.
Yes. And so all the artwork, and they've sold a lot of ads to go in there, try to make you buy something. Anyway, so it's good, whatever. But there's a list. It sort of takes over. We don't have yellow pages or anything like that stuff anymore, I don't think. And
it's online.
It's all online, yes. So it's an actual physical book that has, if you're a member, your business is listed there, your email address, your phone number, the domain and all this stuff, your website. Okay, so the 2021 book from last year, our website address was cut off halfway, and the other part just was not existent in our listing. So it said American Business Engine, or Arkansas back then, Arkansas Business Engine, my phone number, and then it said www.arkansasbusiness, and then just cut.
Yeah.
And then it's cut off. And I brought it up to them. Then they were like, "Oh, we're so," and I was like, "Well, what can we do to try to mend this?" You know what I mean? Put because sometimes they put inserts into the future books and be like, "Hey, we forgot to put this in here, or we made a mistake. This is the exception," that type of thing. None of that. So when I raised it up again, the past couple of weeks, because they're about to print another book, and I'm like, "Hey, let's make sure that our listing is correct, and that we are going to have the full listing on there."
Right.
Okay. And they were like, "Man, we couldn't find where you said that happened before," and I took a picture of it and I showed it to them. They're like, "Oh, that was 2021's book," and I was like, "Yeah, that was 2021's book. That was very recent. That was last year." Okay, so from an entrepreneurship point of view, I'm talking to people that have worked for other people their entire lives, and so they don't understand what it's like to own and operate your own business. Super important is impression. Okay, so whatever attitude or the way you look, the way you dress, the way you conduct yourself, what you spend your time doing, all of these things factor into how people see you and perceive what your business is like. And especially in Arkansas, they want to know who they're doing business with, right? Okay, so they will not only look at you as the person, but they will also look at everything else that you have out there for the world to see.
Yes.
Okay, and we are still very print reliant, I would say, in Arkansas.
Yes.
In a way. But there's
half the population still needs something to hold on to.
Yes, exactly. Exactly right. So this is a book, and since I was on Vanguard, and so I'm hand delivering this book. We hand delivered these books to it was like 1,500 members, 1,500 businesses that we were hand delivering these books to. Some 20 of them I did it by myself, so each one of us did 20, and then we also shipped some out to the schools and all those other things, and so like 1,500 altogether. So I'm hand delivering these books, and then if I tell them, "Hey, I'm Ty with Arkansas Business Engine, and this is what we do, I hope you use us. I just wanted to bring you your directory from the chamber, blah blah blah." They look us up, and then we're cut off halfway. That looks super unprofessional. It reflects poorly on us, and I just like to know that when I'm investing my time and energy, that I'm being respected as well, and treated as an actual professional, respected service, rather than it just happened to tie, so screw it. You know what I mean? Just let it float. But if it was Baldwin Shell, if it was another hospitals, they would have reprinted that whole book.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to interrupt you just for a minute, just because it's on point with what you're saying.
Interrupt my rage. Thank you.
Well, I'm just fine. Just breathe a little bit. Breathe. Take a sip of coffee.
Yeah.
So I joined a different chamber, but I joined another big chamber.
Yeah.
Years ago, and paid my money, the same money as your Baldwin Shells or your big companies.
Sure.
And the book came out. I wasn't in it.
Oh, no.
And they're like, oh, well, you're just a massage therapist. It's fine. No, don't worry about that. We'll get you next time. I'm like, I paid the same amount
Yes.
as every other
Right.
person in that book to be in that book.
Yeah.
So to your point, you're right. Dealing with people who work for other people sometimes gets you in that position.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't look good. And it doesn't
Yeah.
do well for them as well. So it's not just you that's not looking great. If that had happened to me, with my 20 books, I'd have stapled my business card right there, right on top of whoever else was below me, because I would have put my correct information on it.
Yeah.
But, hindsight. And you also have to let it go. I'm not saying that you need to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. It's disrespectful to you. It's disrespectful to your business. It has the potential of lowering your reach. You joined the chamber in order to have that reach. And if your reach is not being met, they're doing a disservice to you.
Right.
But if you look at it less like the chamber and you look at it like you go to get dinner, and they don't, and you order the plate special that has the green beans and the potatoes and the meat,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't bring you any gravy. It's not a complete meal. Like,
No.
people that eat the meat and the potatoes like the gravy. I don't eat those things, but my husband does, so
Sure.
I get an idea. It's wrong. It's disrespectful, especially when they told you, oh, well, Ty, you don't need the gravy. It's fine. And that feels really terrible. And so
Yeah.
those feelings are real, and I want you to definitely express those. But I also want you to think about, you just have the choice to not go back there for dinner.
I do.
And you have the choice of using it as a learning opportunity like you're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what a lot of people would have done? Not reached out. They would have not gone back to the chamber and said, hey, what about this? And you did. And you didn't burst into flames. Some of us
Yeah.
introverts are like, man, if I say something, then lightning's going to come down, I'm going to die.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you didn't. So that's a win. It's a win to not only go once, but go twice. And go back and say, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that they didn't take the learning opportunity to fix it and to make it right.
Mm-hmm.
But to your point, you would have been happy if they just said, man, oversight, let's fix that. How about an insert? What if we put
Right.
out a special email? What can we do to make this right? I don't want to spend, as the chamber, I don't want to spend $50,000 to reprint all these books. But I understand that you're an important, valuable member, and I want to make it right. And that's what they should have done. So you're helping our people in their customer service. When you make a mistake, do try to fix it. It doesn't always have to be the most expensive fix.
No. Yeah.
But people's feelings matter.
I'm not saying this is an unforgivable crime,
But at least
Yeah.
try. I know human mistakes happen, right?
But human
So, but you
apologies
do-
can also happen.
They can.
Yeah.
Yes, they can also happen. You can apologize, and you can also do your best to try to, fix the situation however best you can.
There's a plague in society that makes people not want to take responsibility for things.
Oh,
They
my
want
God,
to
you're
make
right.
someone else's problem.
Have you ever been on Twitter?
God,
It's horrible.
So you're going to run into that a lot, and it's a shame. And I try very hard not to be that person. I'm the first person to step up and say, "I'll take responsibility if it allows us to move on. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll be wrong. Let's fix this. Let's move forward. Let's keep
Yeah.
going." It doesn't. Even if I'm not wrong, sometimes I'll take responsibility for it.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and put that on my shoulders because being here and mad at the moment is not fixing it. Let's move forward. And we need a little bit more of that in society.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry that you didn't have some people step up and value your opinion and value your business and value your contribution to their business the way they should have.
Right.
Because you're not just Thai. You are a valuable business in this community. You are a valuable member of this community.
Yeah.
And you give a lot of value back to not only the chamber, but all the businesses in the chamber. And that was very disrespectful of them not to do that for you. So I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine. Thank you. No, thank you for apologizing for them. That's just something you didn't even have anything to do with. I appreciate it. But yeah, I guess that's another important thing for people to know. If you are going to start your own business, and I'm sure people that have owned their own business for a long time, they already know this, but like you are not going to be treated equally as the big ones. I know you're well on your way. I had this whole discussion with my daughter yesterday morning, or on the way to the movie theater yesterday when we were going to the. And she was like, she wanted to know like how people become millionaires. And I was like, okay, it's a good discussion. Let's talk about it. You know what I mean? And we talked about the different ways. And she was like, okay, can people like get off their jobs? You know what I mean? And I was like, well, yeah, if the company is successful enough and they earn enough, then yes, after they've hit that $999,999 mark, or any dollar after that, they're officially a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, okay, well, she was like, what if you were hired to be a CEO of a big company like that, would you become a millionaire? And I was like, possibly. It just depends on like what company that was.
Right.
How
You
much
be a
they were-
CEO of my company, you are not going to be a millionaire.
Exactly.
But Google, maybe.
I told her, I was like, my business is starting out just like everybody else's. Everyone else started exactly the same way.
Mm-hmm.
They all came from nothing, and some, even if they're over 100 years old business, they started from nothing.
It
And
started
back
as an
then
idea.
back then they didn't have paved roads. You know what I mean? So I mean, like, they started from that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look like Wells Fargo and that type of stuff. You know what I mean? It was just wagons that were carrying money
Right.
around, and so crazy. But yeah, and try to explain to her how like small businesses like mine, it's like if you work hard enough and you keep going at it and you don't give up and you're consistent and like you grow the networking. I was like, there's 100 moving parts in here, but yeah, there is potential that it could be, I could be earning $1 million per year as a CEO of this company eventually if it gets big enough. But. So, and I was also telling her, there's a difference. Like right now, it's like you can't see that right now because you just know me as well. Dad's got a website business that he goes to.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Little Rock, and
Oh my God.
sometimes brings me around. Like she doesn't really fully understand what it is that I do or any of that stuff. So she's always impressed whenever she like sees like a billboard or something that we designed. You know what I mean? And so that gets her attention. But other than that, she doesn't really know or understand. And so she doesn't really see that small businesses like ours have the potential to become as big as we want them to be. And so for like the big ones that she's thinking of, she knows that they have special privileges, that they get special attention, and if the CEO of I don't know.
One of the Fortune 500s.
One of the Fortune 500s, or even like, one of the big ones here. We have Walmart and all that stuff. It's the Waltons. If they call anybody and ask for anything, they got it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, if you know where they are.
Well,
I'm not from Arkansas, so I'm like, you what and what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm booked. Just
So but they have anything that they want. I mean, like that makes them uber rich.
Because it's not just the money. It's about like, hey, you can get a favor from anybody, and they will never ask you to repay it. They just hope people give them things in hope that they can, I don't know, make some sort of connection and
Osmosis.
ride off of that
Yeah.
success that they have. I mean, like, hey, let me siphon off of that a little bit. I'll
Yep.
just
Do this for you.
Well, it's like when you go to the Oscars. Like I know,
Yeah.
I've heard tell about this, but you go to the Oscars or whatever, and they give those swag bags, and they're worth like $250,000.
Yeah.
Like the people that are going there do not need $250,000.
No,
swag.
they do not.
They should get like a name of like a small family that got $250,000 worth of crap
Yes.
on their behalf. That's what they should
But
be
they're
getting.
influencers. So
Exactly.
these brands hope beyond hope that they'll get on Instagram or something and be like, hey, I got these headphones
this.
uh,
and this swag bag, and this is
need
what
the lip balm
These are
or-
nice,
yeah.
yeah. And they hope everybody else buys them. Yeah.
I get it. It's still frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating for sure. But yeah, the special attention, special type of anything. I don't know. It's not going to happen. So I'm kind of happy with. I never want to be the type of CEO where I'm hiding out in my ivory tower, no matter how big this thing gets. And I never come down to see the people, And it's like boots on the ground. I tell people all the time, it's like, why we volunteer so much and all that. It's because if society is a tree, you never feed a tree at the leaves. There are some important nutrients that it needs that it get, photosynthesis and all that stuff from there, but you feed it mostly from the roots.
Right.
And so you've got to be on the ground and you've got to be at the lowest level to start giving the nutrients so that the tree can be strong. And so that's how you build a society or a community. You can't just do it by throwing money at it.
No, that's a Band-Aid. It's temporary fix.
Yeah, it's temporary
It'll look
fix.
good in the moment,
Yeah.
but not moments past.
Yeah.
And definitely not
Right.
longevity.
Sure.
You reminded me of a story that I love, and it's funny
Okay,
because it's
tell me
about
the
me.
story.
It's not really pertinent, but I'm going to tell you anyway because it's funny.
Yeah.
So, I'm a functional movement therapist. I work on people's pain and things like that. My kids think I'm a massage therapist, which technically that's what my license is. So my son gets hurt. His foot hurts. He goes to school. He's like, "Mom, my foot hurts." I'm like, "Okay." So I go pick him up, bring him in, and as we're walking in, he's like, "Man, I need a chiropractor or something," and I'm like, "Do you not know that this is what I do for a living?" And to your point about kids not knowing, so I can bring him in. I do a treatment. He's all better, happy, walking around normal, and everything's fine. But at the same point, I did get a little sting in my heart when he was like, mentioning a different professional that
No, I
wasn't.
get it. Yeah.
So, anyways, I feel your pain.
That's crazy. But like, how did you know that a chiropractor was a thing if you hadn't heard it a million times because of mom? You know what I mean?
Well, no, it's his grandmother is really the end all be all to all. And,
okay.
and that's fine, and it makes her happy. And
So he needed
she's
grandma. That's what he wanted.
well, no, he wanted it fixed, and
Yeah.
that we don't get sick in my house. Because when something is broken, we fix it. We don't spend time talking about
Yeah.
it because it doesn't need to be talked about. We're like, okay, you have a thing, let's put the thing on it, or let's do whatever, and we fix it. And that household's a little different. They spend a little more time talking about things.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
he thought that's what he needed, and I'm like, no, you just need to come in here and sit down, and we'll fix this. And
Yeah.
we did. So anyhow,
Same process you walk your clients through. You're just
Pretty
like, hey,
much.
you think this is wrong? Okay, well, let's check everything. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, that was more of a kid's story than anything else. But
Yeah.
Kids are also much like clients at times when they just don't understand what you do.
No.
I don't.
And to that point, I think that leads into a lot of the lack of appreciation, because if you go into a person and you think all they do is wash windows,
Yeah.
and you're like, good job washing windows. But in reality, they built the house.
Yeah.
And you don't give them the appreciation for building the house, but part of that is because they don't know. I don't know that they built the house. I just know that they washed the windows because that's all I see.
Sure.
So I like to try and think about when people do that, when they underestimate what I do or what I have to offer, is I try to give them that. I know that I'm not always right, but I try to give them the benefit of the doubt, thinking maybe they just don't understand.
Yeah.
And so it's their ignorance that's hurting my feelings, and that helps soften the sting a little bit sometimes.
Okay.
But sometimes I know I'm just doing that to feel better, even though I
Yeah.
know they're just awful people.
Right.
So aside from the chamber, what else is
Oh god! So I guess the last thing. Let's do this. So it's
One more thing.
Yeah,
gonna make you feel better? before
got
you leave?
clients, right? And I hang out with other marketing people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because we're all a little different. We all
Mhm.
do
Learn from
something
each
a little
other,
different.
share it
Learn from
out.
yeah.
Mhm.
There's benefits to hanging out with other people in your industry. Rather than be like, oh, you're a competitor, you're evil, I stay away, blah 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 blah. You know, I
Mhm.
hate that whole attitude.
Agreed.
But there is a line, I think, when you know that I have a client,
Mhm.
and then you go to that client and start offering your services over ours
Mhm.
and trying to cut us out by offering yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
So it's a fine line.
I don't mind, because I know that we're, because we may not be the best fit for every client.
Right.
Right? So if your way of doing things is better for them, that's up to them to decide.
Right.
I completely understand that. But I would appreciate it if you would just tell me beforehand,
Mhm.
or say, hey, we've been talking about this, or hey, have you talked to these guys about doing these things, or
Mhm.
maybe we could collaborate and do this.
Yeah.
Rather than just going behind my back and talking to them and trying to sell them your services. I mean, I just want a little bit of professional courtesy there.
Mhm. No, I'd agree.
Okay.
So there's a fine line between a client saying, I have these 2 cups and I get to
Yeah.
choose. Then I have a cup and you walk in and go, hey, look what I got.
Yeah.
So there's a difference. Is I always keep my clients with an open hand, because I want them to have the best service that they can possibly have. And if I'm not the best fit, I do not feel like any other therapist is a competition. I refer out all the time. I'm happy to do that. But you're absolutely right. If I have a client and we seem to be having a decent relationship, and you think that you can do better, you, as another business person, to be respectful to me, you say, hey, we were talking about your person, and I do this thing that's different. Maybe that could help. Or, like, to your
Yes.
point, can we collaborate? But to go behind my back and solicit them, back solicit is what that's
Yes.
called, back solicit them to be able to get their services away from mine, and not telling me. Not only is that actually they'll probably go, especially if it's cheaper, because people are fickle like that unless you develop that relationship with the client.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely one of the most underhanded things you can do in business.
Yes.
And it will come back to bite you. You may win that one client, but you will ruin your reputation eventually. Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah. I was like, some really corrupt people make it to the top. And
Yeah.
they never seem to fall.
But I also feel like I can sleep well at night knowing that I haven't intentionally harmed anyone.
Yeah.
I do have clients that have come to me from other therapists, and I've had those other therapists be upset about it, but I didn't go get them. They came to me.
Yeah.
And if that's what if they found that what they were looking for with me, it's not because I wanted to take it from you, because honestly, if we know each other, you're on the top of my referral list. I'm constantly referring back to people. If I think someone comes in and we're just not a good fit, and I know what these other people do, I'm like, well, this person can do something that I think is going to be better for what your needs are, better fit for whatever. But like I said, my moral code is intact at the end of the day because I didn't do that to them.
Sure.
So, again, that sucks. And it sucks that it's all coming to you at one time.
Yeah.
It's really, it does seem when it rains it pours. It seems like when the first thing happens, you don't get in the print book, and then you find out and you probably found out by accident like unintentionally that this happened. Like someone else was talking somewhere, or you were talking to the client, and then they said, or no one came to you and said, hey, we're doing this.
Exactly.
You just had to find out.
Yes, I heard a third party, yes.
There is a lot of betrayal in that situation.
And I see all of them, almost on a regular basis.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? You're going to be bitter and say you're a turd and you did a dirty, underhanded thing? Or do you take the high road and just suck it up and because you want that better reputation? But it still stings. It still hurts. And you compound those things, you're carrying a heavy load this week. Do you have anything planned this weekend that's going to be chill for you?
I'm supposed to plant some tulips on Sunday. I just had an email, so I guess the city's doing that. So I guess that's what I'm helping out with, doing more volunteerism, right?
But at least it's a good thing to do. I like tulips. Tulips are nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about, so I'm just like, okay, we're gonna do that.
That doesn't come up till spring, so it's kind of interesting. But now it's the right time. You plant them in the cold.
It's very strange to me too, but okay.
Is it benefiting anything, or is just the city doing it?
It's just the city, yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't do things on Sunday, so I will not offer to help you.
Okay, thank you.
However, but if something comes up on a Saturday, reach out. Maybe I'll come plant
tomorrow. We are
willows with you.
We're looking at going. You ever heard of Bowbrook Farms?
Sounds somewhat familiar.
Like in Roland, Arkansas.
Okay.
Anyway, it's supposed to be a thing that we're going to tomorrow.
Cool.
There's a winery there, but it's also it's not like a regular farm, but it's the ones where people go and take photos, I guess, and stuff.
Oh, like the wagon and the old mill type thing.
A whole bunch of stuff for kids to do, and so Mel will be there and all that. Yeah, so she'll enjoy it.
That's awesome.
And wait for Tara to get back from Mexico. So we'll see how play that by ear, because.
My daughter came to me the other day. I don't remember why exactly it happened. She's out of school, or it was Saturday. I don't remember. Anyways, she spent the day with my husband. And I was talking to her the other day, and I'm like, well, what was the most memorable part of your day? Or what's something that you enjoyed today? She said, it was nice spending all day with Daddy. And I got to thinking, she gets to spend one day a year, without fail, which is her birthday. He takes her out of school and keeps her for an entire day, and they go and do things together. And that's really the only time they spend a whole day together. So again, another win. You get a gift.
Yeah, it's true.
It's going to mean more.
Full of positivity today. Look at you.
Devil's advocate.
It's because I was about to say, because you're usually playing the devil's advocate.
I can tell you your energy's improved.
Yeah.
And those things are still there, and they deserve your time and effort and energy. However, they're just things.
Yeah.
And you're going to keep moving forward, and you're going to keep doing well. You have a great day planned with your daughter. It's going to be cold as all get out, so take layers and gloves and heat warmers and then maybe a dog. Or
Dogs
cat.
Are warm. Yeah. Bring some cats.
A couple extra cats you can throw in your jacket with you. And then, plant tulips on Tuesday or Sunday and start again next week. Once the universe has calmed down with all its craziness, and maybe it'll be a brighter day.
Okay. Well, anything else you want to add to that?
No, but I will try hard to come up with something fabulous soon.
Okay. Good deal. If you are an audio listener on any of the podcast platforms, you can also find us on YouTube. Search for the Healthy Business Podcast. Like, subscribe, hit the bells, do the comment thing, share.
Yeah, that's what I was writing.
Rate us on the podcast apps.
Send us a note.
Do something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just do something.
Involved.
Just do it. Just. So yeah.
Share us your kid stories where they underestimated you.
Oh God. Yes. Everything you do. Oh my God. What did she say she wanted to? She told me yesterday. She was gonna
become rich by being an artist. She was going to sell her paintings. And I was like, okay, let's have a real talk.
When you're dead.
yeah. I was like, art usually does not sell for $1 million. And most art usually doesn't sell at all. So it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you find the right buyer, that's like
art is
a
subjective.
freak of nature, just lightning struck, you know what I mean? In the same spot twice, because that's how lucky you are that you sold that piece of art.
Yeah, you have to sell it twice because the first one has to pay for all of the investment in art stuff, and the second one might be some profit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, earning a living off this? Probably not likely. But let's work on it.
Yeah, she's young. She can still be in that dreamer stage. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. So anyway,
Like, share, do all the things, and maybe we'll get a lucky winner. Listener will get some of her art.
there you go. some Mel's art. She would have no problem making that and sending that out.
That's funny. Absolutely, yeah.
That's crazy. All right. Till next time. If you want to say bye.
Bye.
And keep your business healthy.